about you guys, but when September 1st hits, my brain flips from summer to fall. For me, September 1st is when I start bringing out the fall decorations. It's tea time, it's cozy sweaters. That's the kind of vibes that fall gives me. And so I wanted to give you guys some of my fall book recommendations. Now, these are all books that I have read already, but it's just screaming fall. It's giving cozy. It's giving read by fire. So let's just get started. The first book that I want to recommend to you is kind of a booktube classic at this point, and that is Legend Lattes by Travis Baldree. So we're following Viv. She is an orc, and she's kind of done with that life. She's kind of done with thievery and bandits and living that life of crime. And she decides that she wants to open up a coffee shop in a small town. Now, this town has never heard of coffee before, and so they're just calling it the Bean Water. And so it takes a little bit of time for her to like find a plot of land that she wants to build a coffee shop over on. Construction, word of mouth selling, and there's also a really cute sapphic romance between her and this other creature. I think the other creature is a succubus, but it's just so cute. It's giving coffee shop warmth, tea by the fire. There's also a little mouse that baked good, and he is adorable. This is one of the books that I read last year, and I gave it 5 stars. So it's very cute, very cozy, very low stakes. So if you're wanting to read some fantasy with some very low stakes, I would recommend this one. Now, the next book on this list is Spells for Forgetting, and this is in like an urban fantasy. We're following 2 characters, Emery and August, and they have been high school sweethearts, but one of their friends was murdered, and August was kind of pinned for the crime, but it didn't stick. Like, they didn't have enough evidence to prove that. So him and his mom has decided to like leave town. We don't need being pariahs in this town. But then the mom passes away, so August comes back to town to bury her. The town is technically an island, and I put this book on this fall recommendations list because this book is very giving like Northwestern, on the coast, salt sea vibes. Like, while I was reading this book, I definitely felt like the wind in my hair. I felt like I was on the ocean. And there is some like magical elements to this because the women on this island are witches. So if you want to feel like you're on the ocean or by the beach, I recommend this one. Now, the next book is Can't Spell Treason Without Tea, and I have not been seeing a lot of people recommend this book. Maybe I'm on the wrong side of booktube, but this is another like cozy fantasy. So we're following Canthe, I think that's how you pronounce her name, and Reina, and they are 2 lesbian lovers. So Reina works for this like evil queen, and she decides, I'm done with being a bodyguard. And then her lover Canthe is a mage or really powerful sorceress. So they decided they were gonna run away, and they're gonna open up a bookstore. So similar to Legend of the Lattes, they open a bookstore in this small town, but I don't think I would consider this 100% like cozy, even though it does have some like really cozy elements and the plot was like a little bit slow. There is kind of a higher stakes to this with them like running away from the queen and having to deal with some bandits. But if you've already read Legend of Lattes and you want to pick up something very similar, this I think would be it. Now, the next book is an oldie but a goodie, and that is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I read this way back when it was released, like over 10 years ago, and then I decided to reread it earlier this year, and it still held up. Miss Rainbow Rowell knows what she's doing. And this book is on the list because it's like new adult, but I do think that it's very cozy. I mean, look at the cover. It's giving scarves. It's giving coffee. This is like a book about a book. So we're following Kath and Ren, and they are twin sisters, and then they go off to college, and Ren is like, I think I want to, kind of like be on my own. I want to like have friends outside of you, my twin sister. And Kath is just kind of like, huh? So Kath is then left to kind of like figure out who she is as a person. I just felt when I was reading this book, it was giving me fall. It was giving me like college campus in the middle of nowhere. But there is a really cute romance that's also part of this. And also, this book has been out there for so long, I feel like I don't need to go into the plot of this. So if you want something like new adult, a little bit of romance with a little bit of cozy vibes, then this one is for you. The next book I want to recommend is You Again by Kate Gulback. And this cover just screams fall. Look at it. The cover is set behind some fall looking like trees. They are in sweaters and jackets. So I heard that this book was initially Raylo fanfic, and I actually gave this book 5 stars. So if liking Raylo fanfic is wrong, then I don't want to be right. Following our 2 main characters who have accidentally been meeting or running into each other over the course of 8 years, where they slowly become friends and then they turn into lovers, but they are also struggling in their lives with their careers. The female is a comedian and she's just like a struggling comedian, and then the male is a chef, and they are both kind of like floundering in their careers at one point. They both like seen, dated, or even married other people. So spanning over 8 years of them realizing they actually have feelings for each other. The thing about this book is that the 2 main characters, they feel like real people. It feels like something that can happen in everyday life. Also, the romance in this is so adorable, and that's where I think I'm getting the cozy from. Now, the next book is a little bit of a stretch, and that is Thornhedge by Miss T. Kingfisher. And I included this one on the list because it's very short. So if you're in the mood for a short fairy tale, then I would pick this one up. So we're following this girl. She was stolen to the land of fairies, and the fairy is protecting this tower, and there's something up there that she's protecting that cannot be reached, cannot be touched. And then this knight comes along the way, and he's like, actually, I want to get up on that tower. So it's kind of like a short fairy tale of like what's up on that tower, what's going on with her, what's going on with him. And I can't give it too much away because I think it's a little over 100 pages, and I don't want to spoil it for you. Now we're heading into the next few books that I would say is less cozy, less fall vibe, pumpkin spice latte vibes, because also when I think of fall, I also think of spooky season, obviously, because October and Halloween, and I think of like magic, but kind of like a lighter magic. I also think witches. So this first book is kind of fitting that theme, and that book would be Ink Blood Scribe by Emma Torres. We're following 2 sisters. When they're young, they're kind of sworn to protect a library of magical books, but their dad dies one day when he was trying to read this magical book, and the sisters have been kind of splintered from there. One of the sisters like, I actually don't want to hide away protecting these magical books forever, and then the other sister's like, no, this is our job, this is our duties. And so we're kind of following them, but also we're finding another side plot of this really wealthy family who owns an even bigger library of magical books. It is kind of slow going a little bit first, but it like picks up halfway through. This book I think are for the people that want to read urban magical fantasy. It's kind of giving Charmed vibes a little bit, and I very closely associate Charmed, the TV show, with fall. Now the next book on this list is a horror, but it also falls on this list because it's a little bit cozy, and that would be Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson. So we're following Ash, and she is kind of like your pixie dream girl. She is a baker. She kind of like lives this homestead lifestyle of like reusing everything that she finds. And then we're following Rosemary, who is a college professor, a literature professor, and Rosemary meets Ash at a farmer's market one day, and she immediately is like, that is the most gorgeous person that I've ever seen. So it is sapphic, and I think what's giving me cozy vibes with this one, or fall vibes I guess you will, is because all the baking and all the food that is mentioned in this book, it is actually mouthwatering. And I hate to say that if you know the ending of this book, but it is a horror. I think halfway through I got like kind of a hint of what the horror was gonna be, and it's a little bit shocking. I do want you to know, if you're gonna pick up this book, do not look it up on Goodreads, don't look up the author's Instagram, their bio, like really try to go into this as blind as possible. I think I just gave you a little bit in order to know what this book is about without giving it all away. But kind of just go into this with a little bit information as possible. And the last book I'm going to throw in there for this video recommendation is Stolen by the Wolves. Is this kind of a stretch? Yes it is, but hear me out. Stolen by the Wolves is a Viking Omegaverse, and if you don't know what Omegaverse is, I will leave a video down below so that you can educate yourself a little bit on what the Omegaverse is. But we're following 2 main characters. Tamsin is a princess and Thrain is the Viking, and this is their kind of like love story, but it's also a fantasy world with like the Vikings and them preparing for war and then finding this group of like mythical women. And I promise that this is a bit of a stretch, but the reason why I included it on this list and it's giving me like cozy vibes is because the plot here is very like slow moving, and it really lets you like sink your teeth into it for a little bit before it really like starts to kick off and you anticipate like what the end is going to be, or the next book. This is the first in a series of 6 books. The first 3 books are the only ones that are released now. But what I love about this book is that it is giving hug me, cuddle me, romance. And I primarily wanted to include this on this list because this is my newest favorite obsession. And I just want everyone out there to read this. I think this has like less than 5,000 reviews on Goodreads. And I don't know why this isn't more popular. So that's it. Those are all the books that I recommend that you guys pick up for the fall. if you read any of them or if you have read any of them, please let me know in the comments below. Also, please leave the pumpkin emoji in the comments so that I know that you made it to the end of the video. Also, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in another video next week. Bye!